Hey rock stars, Marisa here from Next Level Guitar. We are here at NAMM 2020 at the Anaheim Convention Center with Dakota Raysik. Welcome. How's your NAMM going so far?
It's great. How is yours?
Very well, thank you. So I understand that you are guitar tech extraordinaire, having guitar tech with the band Atreyu and some other ones. Can you tell us about that, about some of the other bands and what you do as a guitar tech?
Sure. I've toured with a bunch of bands. I do a lot of studio work. I've toured with Atreyu, Dirty Heads, Pepper Iration, like a bunch of the reggae scenes. Like the years of touring with them was a lot of fun, and I'll get called in from like random artists and studios and just basically maintenance all their guitars. And on the road, not only are you in charge of like just like restringing, of course, but there's a lot more that goes on with it. So from making looms and all the cabling to make sure that we can get on stage on and off quickly, everything works, have backups for everything, know all the changes, know all the tunings. It can get down to, like with Atreyu, I tech for all three, two guitar players and one bass player. Basically, it's a really simple setup for them. We do Kempers for guitars and dark glass for the bass, and it's a lot of changing. We structure the set lists where there's breaks in between. We know when the changes are going to happen. If there's different tunings, each guy they all use different picks. So like the funniest thing is I'll have a giant like a guitar vault behind me with all the guitars, but I have a system of what picks go on which guitars during the show, because we tape them to the bottom and they throw them in the crowd as we play. So each guy does that, and just make sure all the levels are good, pedal boards are working properly and all that. We used to use, it's amazing now with Kemper. Back in the day we would use like heads and cabinets and different microphones and do all this stuff, and now everything, there's no cabs, it's all direct. So the majority of the work is all of the maintenance of the guitars, Floyd Roses, and making sure it all works.
That sounds incredible. So do you have any tips for newbie guitar techs who want to do what you do?
I would say do your homework before the gig. I filled in for some pretty high-level guys in the past, like fly dates, like an emergency, like can you fly out and do this? On my flights to these, like wherever I'm going, I will not only get a list from like a tour manager or production manager of all their gear and how we're going to do things, but I will watch their set and I will see how they like to do handoffs, what guitars they're using for each thing. And depending on the guy, there's certain people that go, don't change my strings ever. It's totally fine, I don't want to clean. And other guys that are, if you have a smudge on their guitar, you're fired. You have to know the artist and you have to know what you're doing.
That really is doing your homework.
Yeah, that's that would be like the number one thing. Also, just be cool. Like touring's not for everybody, and if you can hang and you can do it and be professional, it's a really fun thing. It's amazing. I've gotten to go all around the world and do something I really love, and at the end of the day, it's like you get to become friends with these artists that you work for and the bands themselves, the crew. Depending on the size of the tour, I've done tours where it's like the band and crew in one bus, and then there's other times where the crew has their own bus, band has their own bus, equipment runs on a tractor trailer, like giant productions. So it just depends on the gig, and they're all different, which is really fun. In the summer, I'll do these big amphitheater tours with bands, and we play in the middle of a field somewhere and like a big stage, and then I'll do a club tour and we'll do these smaller venues, and it's just, you get to explore the city. Like, it's a really special thing. I'm very happy doing what I do.
You have been having some incredible adventures touring around the world. Where's a really interesting place you've toured lately?
The craziest place lately was South Africa.
South Africa, what was that like?
It was unbelievable. We had 2 shows out there. This was with Atreyu. We did a club show in Cape Town, and then we did a festival called Pirate Fest, pirate theme festival in Johannesburg. And the craziest part, I think, was we flew in during the riots that were happening in Johannesburg. So there was we had extra security at the venue and like an escape plan and all this stuff. Not even a fight, not a pickpocket, nothing. It was like everybody was just happy to see the music.
The power of music.
Yeah, it's really something special, flying to the other side of the planet to put on a show for people that never thought they would get to see this band, and like just being a part of making that many people happy. Like, it was definitely worth it. And then we went on safari, and like that was the coolest thing ever.
How cool, and it sounds like everything went off without a hitch. So tell us about the flip side. Tell us about a time when things went horribly wrong.
That happens every once in a while, sadly. And you know what? The thing is, when something happens like that, that's part of the reason why I have a job or other guys on the crew have a job, whatever, because basically shit goes wrong once in a while. Like as much prep work as we do, as much backups of things I have, there will be a news van that drives by and cuts into our wireless, or we do a club show and there's kids crowd surfing, and I've had them like spill beer on the pedal board or like unplug things.
Watch your beers at shows, people. Hi again, Marisa here from Next Level Guitar. Would you like a killer free practice tool? Well, we can help with that. Just click on the link below and we will send you 6 killer jam tracks and 2 coinciding ebooks. All for free, all from nextlevelguitar.com. Just click on the link below.
One of the worst, I've been really lucky, and I've done a few shows at Red Rocks, and that's like the most amazing venue. It's incredible. I had a wireless issue at Red Rocks in front of like 10,000 people at a sold-out show. So I ran out there and fixed it, but like my heart sunk to my stomach in the moment of that. And but like I said, things happen and you just kind of have to roll through them. The worst thing I could say to anybody that gets into a situation like that is to panic. You can't. You are hired to execute the job. And if that is just being a guitar tech, stage managing, making sure everything is rolling, whatever, things do happen, and in the moment you can't panic and shut down and go, what am I going to do? You need to just go, okay, this is happening, let's figure it out. And I've had strings break in the middle of a solo, to people falling off stage. Like, you never know what's going to happen.
So that's another great tip for guitar techs at all stages of their career. Don't panic. That's what you're paid to do, is to control the situation, right?
Yes, that is like the biggest thing, is don't panic, be a team player. And here's the biggest tip ever. When an artist or whoever you're working for, whatever, asks you to do something, even if you don't know exactly what to do, whatever, I'm on it. You're not saying that you don't know what you're doing, whatever, but it's just like, I will figure it out. If you have to get help and ask somebody else on the crew or do some research, real quick, an example, I did a show with a band, and we were doing a bunch of fly dates, which is basically, we're not on tour, we're just going, we fly to a show, do the show, and fly home. Or fly to a couple in a row. Excuse me. We were using Axe Effects, and you use a MIDI controller for that, and the power supply for the MIDI controller died 2 minutes before the show. So I ended up figuring out that the walkie-talkies that we wear, the Motorola walkie-talkies that you see on tour, whatever, that power supply happened to be the exact same voltage as this bizarre MIDI controller, and turned the unit on, but none of the lights worked. So we had to remember all the punches, but it actually controlled the unit and changed it, which was like, it literally saved the show. We would not have been able to play because it was just, the whole show is like time-coded in MIDI, and like so the next day we're flying to Busch Gardens in Florida on a Sunday, and I'm calling around to every single store. I was up till 2:30 in the morning writing emails, who can I get a power supply from to get this to work? And eventually we figured out that a heel like Dunlop talk box happened to have the exact same voltage and power supply, and we found one of those, used it for that, and finished the rest of the shows. And like without that, I mean, I'm telling you, it would have been an absolute disaster. That's not in a manual. You just have to figure out day of, minute of, whatever. And there have been other times where just right before the show, a guy walks up and says, oh, by the way, I want this in a different tuning and this strings. We go on in 30 minutes. Have fun. If that happens, there is no, you're the guy for that gig. So just be cool and roll with it. Do as best as you can and be prepared and be professional.
How do you have time for your other ventures, Dakotas Cool Guitars?
I've been collecting guitars for years, and I worked at a pawn shop in South Philly for years, and that's where I learned about all these. So everywhere I go on tour, I am constantly finding guitars, every pawn shop, every little music store, Craigslist, like you'd be surprised at how many other like guitar techs and guitar players on the road were always gear hunting. So that's actually how I met Dave, was at the last guitar show. We hung out and it was really cool. And it was.
Shout out to Dave and nextlevelguitar.com.
Yeah, by the way, I've been watching the videos for years, and that's actually with Jason and Flock. I used to watch all his Gretsch demos, and yeah, that's been cool.
So if someone wants to see about Dakota's Cool Guitars, where can they go?
Instagram at Dakotas Cool Guitars, and then dakotascoolguitars.com will take you to my Reverb store. Yeah, and pretty easy. Get in touch with me on there, Facebook. But yeah, lots of cool guitars. I'm debuting a few really special ones this weekend at my booth, and everything from like crazy rare vintage pieces to, you know, more run-of-the-mill stuff. Everything in between. You know, there's no set market for the guitar world. There's people that buy really expensive art pieces, and there's guys that just want something that they can play in their garage band. You know, like there's no wrong answer. Everything is, to me, I just love guitars.
Tell me, what does NAMM stand for?
National Association of Music Merchants.
Ding, ding.
Yeah, I know that one.
Awesome. Well, Dakota, thank you so much for talking to us today. It's been such a pleasure. And see more at dakotascoolguitars.com. Is that right?
Yeah.
Awesome. And we'll see you again soon from nextlevelguitar.com. Hi again, Marisa here from Next Level Guitar. Please check out our video instructional website. There are over 2,500 video lessons for all level players and all musical genres. And please subscribe to our YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up. That really helps keep the content coming.